Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. states that Gervonta Tank Davis is cherry picking his fighters. Gary Russell Jr. says the cherry picking Gervonta Tank Davis has been doing with the help of his promoter Floyd Mayweather. Almost bit him in the backside in his last fight against 140-pound champion Mario Barrios last June. They picked arguably the weakest of the champions at the light welterweight for Tank Davis, which is now 25-0 with 24 KOs, to fight, and he was losing so bad that his promoter Floyd Mayweather Jr. had to go up to his corner after the 7th round to tell him how desperate things were looking. The WBC featherweight champion Russell Jr. says that Team Tank Davis is trying to bamboozle the public by cherry picking and trying to tell the boxing public that he's fighting the best. Davis is 26, beat Barrios by an 11th round knockout on June 26 to save himself from suffering his first career loss. Tank won't be defending his WBA 140-pound title as he plans on campaigning back at 130. The criticism that Gervonta is getting from the boxing fans is that he's been matched against faded guys and weaker secondary champions to make easy money on Showtime. They're not getting in the way of Tank and Mayweather promotions to insist that he fight better opposition than what he's been doing. Russell Jr., now 31, 1-18, says that he'd like to fight Tank, but that doesn't seem likely. He might be too risky. And these are the words from Gary Russell. I definitely wanted Gervonta Tank Davis. I still want him, said Gary Russell Jr. to Fight Hub. I wanted to break my foot off in Leo Santa Cruz. Leo ran away from me the longest. He was in my weight division. We could have made it happen. Everybody that was in the 126-pound bracket when they were fighting. Whether it was Shakur Stevenson, whether it was Josh Warrington, and whether it was whoever they were at the time when they had the opportunity to compete against me, none of those guys was in a rush to get in the ring with me. I thought it was a very strategic fight, said Russell, when asked what his thoughts are about Barrios and Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, let me counterpunch. Gervonta Tank Davis, is he a cherry picker? I don't think Gervonta picks his own fights. I used to give Gervonta a hard time, but I understand that he is with a very supportive promotional company. Okay, the people around him: Leonard Ellerbe, powerful; Floyd Mayweather, powerful; Al Heyman, powerful. And then these guys, they control his career. I don't think he calls the shots over there. I think they look at Gervonta more as a person that he fights whoever they want him to fight. That's him. That's his job. He's comfortable with that. I remember back in the day, Manny Pacquiao, he was like the same way, whatever my promoter wants me to do, right? He's no different. Okay, so before people like, oh, he's cherry picking. Well, that may be true, but he ain't doing the picking. Okay, Floyd is. Floyd's doing the picking. Leonard Ellerbe's doing the picking, and he's doing the promotion, and he's doing the downsizing or belittling of other fighters and champions. Okay, it was Leonard Ellerbe that said that Josh Taylor hasn't even been heard of. Well, he has now, if that's the case. If that's your narrative, you've made it possible that people know who he is. You know what I mean? He was sure as hell better than the WBA regular champion Mario Barrios, right? So I don't know what he's talking about. I think that Gary Russell Jr. is a guy that he has to fight someone, and I think he let a lot of times, a lot of opportunities piss right down the drain himself. Maybe his attitude, maybe his reluctancy to take certain fights, being on the PBC banner. He is one of the he's impressive. I really like Gary Russell Jr.'s fighting ability, but what difference does it make when he ain't fighting nobody? Okay? You know what I mean? So, he fought like in February of last year. So you got to ask yourself, like, what is he really doing? He fought in February of last year on the 8th, right? This is September of 2021. He ain't had a fight since. So, wow. You know what I mean? You're looking at, wow, I mean, that's a lot. That's a year and a half, over a year and a half. And before that, he fought in May of 19. Before that, he fought in May of 18. You know what I mean? Before, he fought in May of 17. Look, you can't make this up. With somebody that's calling somebody a cherry picker and things of that nature, Gary Russell Jr. has to work on consistency. A lot of times people can be worried too much about other fighters and what they got going on instead of worrying about your own career. He's 33 years of age. Gervonta Tank Davis is 26. Davis got time. He don't. Okay, the thing, at 33 years of age, hell, that's Bud Crawford's age. And look what he's done at age 33. Okay? He's been a champion in 3 different weight classes. So, again, who is really wasting time? So Gary Russell Jr. is wasting time with bumping his gums a lot of times. I get Leo Santa Cruz ducked him. He did. He ducked him. Do they want to throw him in there with Gervonta Tank Davis? Probably not. Not at 33. Because he's at a perfect age. He can do an upset. And then what's it going to do for the money? The narrative is the 4 kings of the lightweight division, right? Devin Haney, Davis, Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez. Those are those guys. They don't have time for the guys like him and the guy that beat him, Lomachenko, to go in there and upset their plans for these young guys to make all this money. They're not going to do that. And none of those guys, listen, I keep telling you, none of these guys will fight each other at 135 or 140. Okay? They're going to beat those guys that have already been beaten, the Linadeses of the world. Somebody else will go up and fight Barrios. Those guys. Somebody might try Lomachenko on down the line, not right now. Okay? But eventually all of them, hopefully, that the young guys, not Gary Russell's and Lomachenko, they're going to be too old at that time, and they're not going to 147 anyway. But they're going to have eventually showdown in 147 when those fighters become bigger based on the things that they've done at 135, if that's enough. Okay, so with Gary Russell, again, I like him. He's a mean, rugged fighter, no nonsense, East Coast. I know you was a bitch, shawty. That type of attitude, I think he needs to focus on his career before the speed, the talent, the youth, the experience, all that really drops to the wayside and falls through the cracks because of age. Father Time will eventually start eating up some of those attributes that I mentioned. You mentioned everything about Gary Russell Jr. He won't have that forever. He won't have that the next 5 years, I'm pretty sure. Then people will throw him in there. Then Floyd, I want him to fight Gary Russell Jr. You know what they're going to do? You know how they're going to do Gary Russell Jr.? They're going to do him the exact same way another talented, quick fighter has been done. And who am I talking about? Yoriokis Gamboa. They did Gamboa the same way. They waited till he got damn near 40 years old and then chunked him in there with these young cats then. Now you're going to do that? That's what they do. And who has he fought? Right? He's fought Tank Davis and Devin Haney. Again, I see where the formation is going. These guys are not fighting each other because they're worried about building their brand and making the most money possible. Devin Haney's probably the most ducked, though, to be real. And he had an opportunity to fight him, the guy that everyone's ducking, and that somehow got pissed down the toilet. Okay? So again, Gary Russell Jr. needs to worry about making fights because, hey, I would rather fight someone for $1,000,000 or $500,000 less than not fight nobody at all. Counterpunch. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Gary Russell Jr. stating that Gervonta Tank Davis is cherry picking. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.